Recording the receipts of items from a purchase order, either for stock or specifically for a contract. And these are known as goods received notes, GRNs. So if I go to my outstanding goods in, and this will show a listing of all the purchase orders that you haven't indicated that you've had the goods received against. If I look at this bottom one, purchase order 106, you can see that we ordered 2. We've already had 1 delivered, but there's 1 outstanding. So I could interrogate that a bit more by view the selected purchase order. So I can see that it was ordered specifically for a contract. I can then look at the GRN details. I can see, okay, yeah, we received 1. We had a discrepancy of 1 because 1 was damaged. So we've got the information there of the items that were received. So we look at purchase order 105. We can see here that we've placed a purchase order for 25 cupboard locks for stores, basically for stock that they can be issued to any contract. And we've ordered 5 pairs of drawer runners specifically against a contract and against an item of a contract. So I look at those items in the material library. So first of all, if we look at the locks, you can see here I've got outstanding on order 25 and the latest delivery due is on the 2nd of the 8th, and that is from this purchase order 106. So the system knows that when these items come in, they can be booked directly into stock. But the items that were ordered specifically for a contract for an item, so if we look at the drawer runners, even though they exist in the material library, the system knows a purchase order has been raised for them, but they're not for stock. So there's 0 waiting to be entered into stock because they're earmarked specifically for a contract. So to record these items coming in, we simply either go to outstanding goods in, select the item and say goods received note, or I could enter it directly from a goods received note from the dashboard. So purchase order 105, accept delivery. Then it shows the items that we've ordered. I then enter in the delivery note number that they arrived on. So it says DM 01452. I then have the option of scanning that delivery note and then uploading it onto the system so that I've always got a record of the actual delivery note that we received. So I can say upload the document, and if we just select a goods received document, that gets imported into the system. Now, if I was to double click on that now or at any time in the future, the system will load this document. I can then view it. I've then got the facility to print it out, save it. I can even increase the size to look at it in greater detail. So I can go back to the screen. So I then need to indicate how many items were received against each line. Now, if everything was received and everything was fine, I can simply say all items delivered, all outstanding items received, and the system will automatically type in the code. But if, say, 5 of those were damaged, I might say I've only received 20, and I can add a note in here to say the 5 were damaged. And we could say waiting to be returned. And we received 5 of those drawer runners specifically for that item there. Now I've got a column here that says print labels. Now I can print a label to identify that item so that when we put it on the shelf, we can simply scan that item so the system knows what the item is. And I'll just change that to, I just want one label of each. And I can say print ID code labels. System will then print a label for each of those items. So that's one for the cylinder locks. And then I've got a label for the drawer runners. So once that's been done, we can then enter the delivery. Would I like a goods received note printing? If I click OK and then change the printer, and I'll preview on screen. I might need to change my screen share so that you can see that. I just go to new screen share and find the delivery note. You'll then see the delivery note, obviously with your company headers on there, and it will show the items. And this could also be used to email to the supplier to note that 5 were damaged and that they need to be returned. So I just change my screen sharing back and click cancel. And now if I go to the outstanding goods in, you'll see that purchase order 105, there's only one item now showing because I've got 5 outstanding items for that. So if we look at what effect that's had on our stock and our bill item, so if I view the material stock for the cupboard lock, you'll now see that I've got 35 in stock. I've got 5 still outstanding, so that's my 5 damaged items. So the system's now said that I've got 35 available to be used. But if I go and look at the drawer runners, you'll see that they have not been put into stock because they've been allocated specifically for that item. So if I come back to my bill item and have a look at that, you'll see there's my drawer runners entered into the system with a cost. Now, it's showing authorized status 0 because I actually haven't had the purchase invoice for those, but the system knows that when the purchase order was placed, that there is a job cost element for that. Hence, that's why they've not gone into stock, because they've already been allocated to that particular item. Now, what I can do is note that these items have been put in a certain area within the company, ready to be issued to the workshop for that. And that's done by going to your add items to storage or dispatch. So we need to scan the location code that we're going to put it to. So we find a particular area within our workshop where we're going to store this till they're ready. Scan the area code and then scan the item that's going to go into there. So we've got some drawer runners and we need 5 of those. So I'm using my stock scanner here. So I'm going to say I've got 5. Then I scan the label that I printed off my GRN. And the system now knows that it's from the goods received note 38 and it was line number 2 and there was 5 of them. And they're going to be put into this location. So I then confirm the item stored to that location, and they're now in there ready to be issued when ready. So if I look at my issue from storage dispatch, you'll now see that those draw runners are located in aisle C, ready for me to dispatch for the item. Now, if we just go back and have a look at that contract and the bill item within that contract that these draw runners were for, you can see here we've got the draw runners there, but there's nothing being tracked to that because they've just been received and they're sitting in the storage area. So what we're now going to do is issue those to the workshop, and you'll see them being tracked from within there. So to get them to the workshop out of this storage dispatch area, we simply scan who we're going to issue them to. So it might be that Howard's come to us and said, right, okay, I'm ready for those draw runners. So we scan his ID, and then we scan the items that we're giving him. So we're going to give him 5 of these draw runners. So we take the actual item, the QR code that we scanned for it, enter that through. You can see that the system has now located the items that we want, and I simply say issue items. Now, if I go and have a look at that item, you'll now see that it was added to the storage dispatch, and then we can see that 5 were taken from the location and they were given to Howard for that. So we're now getting a complete tracking of these items that we received from our purchase order. They went into our storage area waiting for the workshop to request them. Then they've gone to the workshop to be used. Now, if one of those should come back, that's easy enough to do. So let's say they only wanted 4 of them in the end. I can put those either back into stock, or I can put them back into the storage area and use when required again. So I can come out of here, and I would simply say return items to storage or dispatch. So I say who it's returned from, the item that was returned and how many. So we're just going to have one of those items and where we're going to return them to. So we'll put them back into the same location. So they're now into there, and we say return items, and that's back into that storage area. So if I then look at the whole storage area again, you can see here now that we only have 1 of those draw runners in that original location. If I go and look at that item again, bill item from in there, and we look at that particular item, you can then see that 1 was returned to the location, and it was returned from Howard Gill. So you can see that once you've printed your barcodes or your QR codes for your items, you can then track them through the company. You're aware of where they've gone. We can see if they've been allocated into our stock. We can see if they've been allocated to a particular bill item. At any time I want to look at what goods I've received, and obviously items will be disappearing off this list, so it might be I want to look for an item that it isn't here. I can view a goods received by clicking the goods received function and then just say view GRN note. I can then locate them by the purchase order, by GRN number, date received, or a supplier advice note. So if I want to see what goods I received on the 2nd, simply click search. I can see the 3 goods received notes that I generated on that date. I can then double click on the one I want to view, and then I get more details of the items within there. And I can also upload the documents at a later date as well. So it might be when I've done my original goods received note that, crikey, I haven't scanned the note and I need to upload that to the system. Simply locate the GRN that you need it to be uploaded to. And then just click upload photos or documents. And then it goes into there. And that's basically all there is to your goods received notes.